Welcome back, it's Smash Bros here, and last time I talked about the top 10 things I'd like to see in Breath of the Wild 2, and since then the Nintendo Direct in February did already happen. However, for Splatoon 3 I didn't really see as much as I hoped for. There was only that small Salmon Run trailer. So I think it still makes sense to make this video about the top 10 things that I want to see in Splatoon 3, as basically none of the things that I listed here were shown in that trailer. Since first of all it was only about Salmon Run, so about the other game modes there was nothing. And directly starting with number 1 is what this game definitely needs, is to have better online stability or server infrastructure, because I think Splatoon 2 still doesn't even use the servers from Nintendo, and there are just sometimes so many disconnects and laggy situations that it kind of feels very unfair to me sometimes. And what I don't understand is, I mean, for games like Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart 8, the online mode also works. And I mean, of course, there are also disconnects in those games, but comparing that to Splatoon 2 is, it's really few disconnects and laggy moments for the other games, at least for me. And for Splatoon 2, there are certain situations, like just for the recording of the gameplay that runs in the background while I explain those things right here. I recorded about 1 hour of normal gameplay and also some Salmon Run matches. But just within that hour I had like 5 or even more disconnects, and also 2 complete connection errors where not just somebody in the team disconnected, but the entire match was interrupted. And I don't understand why Nintendo doesn't give this game a good online infrastructure, because as I said, for other games that are also by Nintendo, like Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart 8 or ARMS or whatever, I also didn't experience that many online problems, so I think they really can improve something right there. Moving on to point 2 on the list, as I expect the number of available maps to once again grow from Splatoon 2 to Splatoon 3, it might make sense to have a free map choice, at least in Turf War mode. I know it wouldn't really make much sense in ranked battles, as you have to choose a weapon if you want to win that works on all maps. So in my opinion, for ranked battles that would be a bad idea, because that means that every player would basically have to choose a all-rounder weapon that can be played on every map. However, for Turf War mode it makes sense in my opinion, and I would imagine that to work somewhat like in Mario Kart, so that basically before the match starts every player in the lobby can choose one map, and out of those choices one random map is selected. But I think that makes more sense than having this map rotation every few hours, because just in Splatoon 2 there are about 20 different maps. So considering that there's 2 maps per rotation and one rotation lasts 2 hours, that means that it already takes 20 hours or almost a day until all the maps have appeared in the rotation. So if you want to play a specific map and you don't have time in that specific 2 hours where that map is in the rotation, then you might have to wait almost another day until it reappears. The next point on my list goes kind of in the same direction, but a little bit different, because the next point is a free mode choice in ranked battles. However, that would have to work a little bit different, because as I said, in ranked battles you have to be able to know what map and also what mode is going to appear in order to correctly choose your weapon and your gear. And for that to work, of course, as I said, you have to know what mode you are going to play in the end. But I still would offer the player to choose at any time what mode he wants to play, and then just throw him into a lobby with other people that chose the same game mode. So for ranked battle you would still have some map rotation, but when entering a ranked battle you can choose what mode you want to play on those maps in the rotation, and then you are thrown into a lobby with other people that also chose that same ranked mode. Because I think for ranked battles it's even harder to practice a specific combination of maps and modes, because let's say you don't have a team where you can use private battles to practice specific combinations with. If you want to just randomly get that rotation in the normal ranked battles, since every rotation on top of only having 2 maps also only has 1 mode in Splatoon 2, and there are 4 different ranked modes, that means it doesn't only take 20 hours until every possible combination has appeared, but instead for each ranked mode it takes 20 hours, so overall it takes 80 hours, so over 3 days, until every possible combination has appeared. And once again, if you don't have time in those specific 2 hours where the combination that you want to play is in the rotation, then you have to wait maybe even another 3 days until it reappears that way. So I think having the availability of at least all ranked modes at the same time would make sense, as probably there might also be yet another ranked mode in Splatoon 3. Hasn't been announced yet, but from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2 there was also 1 mode more. Moving on to the next point on my list, it has to do with Salmon Run. And in the Nintendo Direct there was a small trailer about Salmon Run. However, even though what we saw in the trailer was cool in my opinion, it wasn't as much new information as I had hoped for. So I still have some points that I definitely like to see in Salmon Run in Splatoon 3. First of all, permanent availability in Salmon Run would be great, because in Splatoon 2, for whatever reason, that mode is sometimes not available and other times it is. And that doesn't make much sense in my opinion. I mean, they could still change up the weapons that appear in Salmon Run and the maps every few hours. However, that doesn't mean they have to interrupt the Salmon Run each time in order to do that. And on the other hand, what I would also like is some sort of Salmon Run endless mode, where you just get wave after wave of enemies until everybody dies. So where you don't just end after 3 waves. Something that I'd also like to see in the next game is to have some stats tracking in game, because there are some stats in Splatoon 2. However, in order to see them, you have to install that mobile app on your phone, and I don't really see the reason why you cannot just put that information directly into the game, but instead have it only available via an external smartphone app. The next point on my list is about the story mode, and what I hope for the story mode is that the levels are in a style like the Octo expansion levels from Splatoon 2, because I think that kind of level style, where a level is usually not that long, sometimes it even consists of just one challenge, like a sniper shot that is really hard to hit or something like that, that really fits the game way better than the normal story mode levels from Splatoon 2, because I think that's just a better choice, because you have different challenges with different weapons, and it's, in my opinion, it teaches the player better to use the different weapons than the normal story mode does. So going to point 7 on my list, what I'd also like to have in Splatoon 3 is the free choice of sub and special weapons. So for Splatoon 1 and 2 there always have been set combinations of main, sub and special weapons, and I'm not sure how much sense that idea makes to give that choice to the player, but I would like to see it that way. Of course, if that's not possible because of balancing problems or whatever, then I'd rather have it like it is in Splatoon 1 and 2 again. However, if it would be possible to do that somehow, I think it would be great, because it would just offer more variety. Other than that, what I'd also like to see in Splatoon 3 is to have some way Other than that, what I'd also like to see in the next Splatoon game is some way to earn Super Sea Snails, because Super Sea Snails are a very useful item, as you can re-roll the special effects on your gear, and the only way to constantly earn Super Sea Snails in Splatoon 2 is by leveling up. However, considering that most people don't have 10 hours a day to play this game, it just takes a really long time until you get just one level, and for one level you only get one Super Sea Snail. So previously, when there were still Splatfests in Splatoon 2, there was a way to get a not that low amount of Super Sea Snails just by playing the Splatfest a lot, and some way like that to permanently earn Super Sea Snails would be great in my opinion. So maybe, I don't know, something like winning 3 matches in a row or whatever could be one place to put Super Sea Snails as a reward. However, on the other hand, I could also imagine them as a reward for Salmon Run. So considering the endless mode that I previously talked about would actually be in the final game, then maybe you could do something like for every 5 waves of enemies that you clear, you get one Super Sea Snail. The 9th item on my list is something that I think Splatoon 1 did right, while Splatoon 2 did it wrong, at least in my opinion, and that's the special weapons. Because every special weapon in Splatoon 2 feels like a nerfed version compared to the special weapons from Splatoon 1. I think those were just way more powerful and also did feel more special. First of all, most of them could instantly kill enemies with one hit when they got hit by that. Other than that, if you had a defensive special weapon, it would literally be a complete invincibility, not some kind of extra shield that makes you take a few more hits, but you are still killable. And also, I think That doesn't mean that these Splatoon 1 specials were unfair. You could just still shoot against someone having that shield special and to pull them away, so that doesn't mean they were unstoppable, but it was harder to stop them, and for at least a few seconds it was really a special feeling. Also, most of that special weapons didn't have any lag, so you just pressed the special button, and as soon as you pressed it, the special was activated. And for Splatoon 2, a lot of specials, if you press the button, they still take 1 or 2 seconds until they are fully activated. And I just would like to have it back like it was in Splatoon 1. And I also think that wouldn't be any balancing problem, as both the specials of you and your opponents will get stronger at the same time, when specials in generally get stronger again. And last but not least, we have achievements, which is something that I think fits a game like Splatoon very well. And it also is a great way to keep players encouraged, even over a long time. So those could be probably anything from things that are not that unlikely to happen, like killing 2 people with 1 splat bomb or getting 10 kills in a turf war match is probably something that you can go for. But they could of course also be something like those 1 in a million scenarios where you hit 3 or more players with a single sniper shot, or maybe even some achievements that are more of a grind, like for example winning at least 1 A- or higher ranked battle with every weapon in the game or whatever. However, I think no matter what achievements they put into the game, it would just be a great way to keep players engaged, and maybe if they manage to do all the normal challenges in the game, it would still be something they could go for. So that was the top 10 things that I'd like to see in Splatoon 3. And as I said, I will also make something like that for Mario Maker. Even though it hasn't been announced yet, I think and I really hope that there will be a Mario Maker 3 at some point. However, since for Mario Maker I have way more than just 10 ideas of things that I'd like to see in the next game, I decided to make it a little bit different. So instead of just having some Mario Maker 2 gameplay in the background and talking about what I'd like to see, I decided to make a little something like a fan-made Mario Maker 3 trailer to basically show what I'd like to have in Super Mario Maker 3. And I don't know how long it will take me to make this trailer. It will definitely be a few weeks until it's finished. So that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed the video.